The Battle of Britain is about to begin.
We got tanks up there. Let's follow a range on Detroit. I do not have that on the target right now. I've got a couple of these right in front of me. I'm going after it. Right, I got him.
Welcome back to the Lead Pursuit Podcast, episode 46, Gathering of Eagles. That's right. We're talking about what's coming up here in just 2 weeks. A chance to get together in person, play some Blood Red Skies, play a couple other games that we might be playing out there, maybe some Battletech, maybe some 40K or 30K. That's scary. Why would we do that? But to get together, have fun with a bunch of other gamers, and do it in a reasonable and safe method. Brett, Chris, good to have you guys on. Brett, what are you doing these days?
Oh, I'm actually painting a few things.
Oh, you lie.
Yeah. Pictures forthcoming, but I finished a few planes. I'm working on some ground targets, so I've taken a little bit of a break. I got a little bit of a reprieve from the campaign stuff because we've pretty much finished our layout, so I have a little bit of a breather. So
excellent.
I'm jumping on some hobby.
Chris, what are you working on?
We just got back from vacay, so it's been 10 days. We got the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in D.C. done. We got to Battleship North Carolina and Wilmington, and we continued south, and we went to the Yorktown. And I can tell you that all three of those spots are worth going to if you're into anything World War II. They were freaking amazing. The one caution I'll give you on the Smithsonian right now, they've got about half of their aircraft under plastic in the Warbirds area, and that's because they are completely redoing the ceiling. But it is open. We could get in. There was some amazing stuff in there. The Hellcat, luckily, was the only one that was really covered that I really wanted to see was the Flying Tiger. But I
thought you were going to say the Predator drone. I thought that's the one you wanted to see.
No. It's those guys are like freaking office trash, man. It's all we saw in freaking Afghanistan. It's like it's the second you see a Predator, it's like, oh my god, look, it's a Predator drone, or oh my god, it's the even bigger Reaper drone. And then after like a week of that, you're just like, oh yeah,
you're like, what do you know? Look, another drone.
And there goes another drone.
Well, hey, so you made it down to the Yorktown. Did you take my advice? Did you go check out the Vietnam site?
We did. It was amazing. Just the way they do all the freaking the it's like kind of like a combination. It's hard to explain. Freaking there's like the audio,
it's like a patrol base, and it's like a middle of a firefight. Yeah, it's all kinds of
it reminded me kind of like going in the Frozen Chosen display at the Marine Corps Museum.
Yep.
You know, they kind of suck you in. They've got they got a patrol boat in the water there, and they got a Huey, and so it was neat. It was really neat. But I got to say the highlight was Yorktown. The Yorktown was wide open. We got to go just about into they allow you to go in all the crew spaces underneath, so including the main engineering spaces, through all the berthing areas and the galleys, which for me and Christina being, Bonner Bouchard plank owners, that was kind of neat seeing the way it looked in World War II and comparing how it looked when we were on ship together. And then you got
That's
to go.
Right.
Course,
I forgot. She's a squid.
She's a
dirty,
squid.
nasty squid.
Yeah, I married a Navy girl.
Yeah, we're not going to invite her on the podcast. We don't want to corrupt this podcast anymore. We have one Ranger. That's bad enough. No sailors.
But no, it was cool. I mean, they've got the hangar, the main hangar bay in the on the Yorktown is all World War II aircraft. They've got a Mitchell in there, which is in really, really good shape. They've got a Hellcat. They've got a Wildcat. They got a Corsair. They got an SPD. It's just really well done, and you can get pretty close to the aircraft. You used to actually be able to go, and I think they will once COVID's over. You'll actually be able to walk up on stairs and look down into the cockpits and be really close to them. We weren't allowed to do that. We were allowed to go up to where we could basically touch the wings.
Right.
But they've got really nice paint jobs on them. In fact, I was snapping pictures of the paint jobs as paint swatches.
Well, and I'm sure you noticed this when you looked at the aircraft in the hangar bay. Sometimes people are so used to restored warbirds at an air show or places like the Smithsonian. When you have a museum like the Yorktown that is sitting on salt water, you have to protect all of the surfaces. And so there'll be a lot of this that heavy protective paint on a lot of them, and people be like, "Hey, why are the surfaces so rough? Why don't these things look like cloth aircraft?" Well, because they're trying to keep them from rotting as they sit in a saltwater museum.
And the neat thing was all the World War II stuff is on the hangar bay, so it's got a little modicum of protection from the salt air, in that it's in an enclosed, covered space, so it's not getting rained on.
Right.
The modern stuff that was, I say modern, most of it was Vietnam era, but the Vietnam era stuff that's on the flight deck, oh my God, that stuff is in rough shape.
They have a lot of work that they need to do on those. And
dude, the tires are sitting on the hubs. I mean, you just got shredded tires that they're sitting on. Some of them were in pretty sad shape.
I was kind of hoping they'd take the Gators F-18 and just push it over the side.
That's what I told Christina. I said, great. I said,
get rid of it.
I said, that's a bone of contention. She goes, why is that a bone of contention? I said, because Beaufort is like 45 minutes away, and they chose the
Atlanta Reserve Squadron
to plant there on the flight deck.
Hey, Yorktown Museum, I love you guys, but fuck you for choosing the Gators. You only had 7 Hornet squadrons to choose from in Beaufort, 4 of which were single-seaters, and you chose the Gators. So here's a hearty fuck you to the museum. No, they're a great museum, and I love them, and it's a great staff there. But that is one of the funniest things, and that happens all over. I mean, it's like you roll into Havelock, North Carolina, and you're driving by and you're like, why is there a VMA AW 533A6 in front of the Hampton Inn? You're like, what the hell? So crazy shit shows like that with the aviation museums and funny stuff like that.
And the North Carolina,
Brett had some smart ass questions to ask, so I'm going to let him be the jackass here.
No, it's a sincere question. How the hell long does it take to cruise around in all the cruise spaces in an aircraft carrier? I'm thinking it takes a while.
No, it was about an hour, because they do them. They call them self-guided tours. So you have like arrows painted on the ground. It's like, okay, go in this hatch, go to this station, and follow the arrows to do the thing. So they've got a lot of the ship walled off, but they allow you to pass through, like I said, down into the engineering space, and then you come up into the crew galley, and then you go back into just one of the crew berthing areas, and they, of course, let you go back into a crew head so you can see all the toilets lined up with no freaking walls, and everybody can go, oh my God, you live like that? And you go, yeah, that's how we live. Get a real life. Life sucks on ship. But
hey, pass me some toilet paper or a White Dwarf magazine.
Exactly. Hell, at least we had walls in Afghanistan. Of course, exactly. I would rather be on a Navy ship with no walls than sitting in a porta-john at 125 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. With the suicide fly that flies right in your mouth. And you're like, oh, really? Really, dude?
I know. You got the truck that comes around that cleans them out, and they never do quite a good job. So you're just like, oh my God, this is... Porta-johns is one of those things, even after being in the Marine Corps, it's like, if I can humanly possibly avoid a porta-john, I just do.
Well, that's your trigger?
Yeah, it's a trigger, man. I'm the same way, and I laugh because I will go into civilian porta-johns, and the first thought in my mind is, hey, this is actually pretty clean for a porta-john. But I have this
aversion. I had a Sharpie with me, because this really needs to be tuned up.
It does. I need to leave some good graffiti in this one. I can make some Ranger jokes in this place. But, it's one of those things that, it is a trigger for me as well, and it's so funny. It's one of those, Desert War veteran things. You're like, oh God, I just never want to set foot in another freaking porta shitter ever again.
I'll just never forget being like a PFC in the first Gulf War and having porta shooters and having, like a line of 14 of them. So you're hearing everybody doing what they're doing. And then there's always that one jackass who's walking to chow, and he walks down every porta shooter and bangs on him and runs exactly. And he's like, stop it.
If I catch your asshole, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Oh.
So,
all right. Well, hey, back to Blood Red Skies.
But anyway, yeah, exactly. I highly recommend all those spots, because they're amazing. And Brett, if you haven't taken Little Man yet, definitely take him. I mean, it is definitely worth going to Yorktown. And the North Carolina, why it's just the North Carolina by itself up in Wilmington, it's only about 2 hours, 45 minutes north of Charleston. And they've got like working boffers that you can still, well, I say working, they still traverse and they still elevate. So you can put like 2 people on them and crank the freaking AA guns around. And that was pretty cool. That was a good tour. So definitely take him, check some of that stuff out.
So if you're wondering what Gathering of Eagles is going to be like, it's like this, but with gaming. In other words, we're going to sit around and bullshit for most of the time. Yep. And we might actually play some Blood Red Skies.
Yep. There'll be lots of drinking. There'll be lots of practical jokes. There will be lots of freaking sea stories. I
want everyone to know that I made sure, as I talked with the hotel this last Friday, the bar will serve alcohol. It's not open. You can't sit at the bar, but they can serve you. So we have 2 happy hours programmed in. Have one obviously on Friday night, so everybody else can have a virtual happy hour with us. Have fun with that. And then we also will have kind of a dinner/happy hour on Saturday. And the nice thing is, weather permitting, we can go out to the patio, have our drinks out there, sit around, catch up with people, tell lies, and talk about what great gamers we were. But it should be a good time.
Yep. So, Doug, you have been busting your ass on this, and me and Brett have been watching.
Coasting, loafing, goofing off.
If you were a motorcycle dude, you'd have 2 sidecars, which two guys that are just kind of sitting there with freaking goggles on, like, dude, he's really working.
Brett's contributed. He actually makes social media posts that reference Gathering of Eagles.
Literally, I think it was last week when I realized, it's not at the end of September; it's the beginning of September. I guess I need to.
I guess I better get on that.
Here.
It's in like 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Question mark?
Yeah. I had my rooms and everything already, and I was already registered, so it's just kind of on a back burner. And now it's not.
yeah, it's funny. Here's the nicest thing. So this has been the easiest event I have ever planned with a hotel. Obviously, because it's coronavirus and everybody would like people to show up and do events at hotels. But the staff at the Hilton Garden Inn, Indianapolis, at the airport, has been amazing and super easy to coordinate with. And it was really funny. Last Friday, I was on a conference call with them, and we were talking about, safety procedures, layout, all the different, city restrictions, county restrictions, all the different things you have to abide by. And it was kind of funny because we got to the end of it, and both the sales rep and I were like, well, I think we've actually thought of everything that we needed to cover. That was amazingly easy because nobody had any long pauses of, I don't know, I haven't thought of that. So they really are excited to have us there. They're excited for the event. Like
they are
us.
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we're done, they're like, never come back
we'll
again.
We'll find out in the post-op how that all went.
Yeah, exactly. You can bring Brett back, but Chris and Doug, we don't want to see those guys again.
No. And John Russell, please tell him to put on some underwear under the kilt.
Yeah. Oh, God. Gee. Kilt night. You boys have fun with that.
So what's the next thing on the agenda? I got my rooms. I'm registered, I think, for the event, but there's a schedule you've put out of an actual agenda of things that are happening.
Yeah, so there's this thing called a schedule that really should be called a draft of a good idea. If you go out to the GOE site, which is real tough to find, it's leadpursuit.net/GOE. Yes, we kept it short for the Marines in the crowd because we probably couldn't remember any more letters. But if you go out there, click on the link for the 4 to 6 September event, you'll see a schedule out there. And it mentions a couple things that you might want to sign up for. There's things that don't need signing up, like open gaming, obviously. There is mention of a tournament. And you're like, well, hey, man, I did the pre-registration. It kind of asked me if I wanted to play in a tournament, but it didn't say anything. Well, here's the deal. Emails are about to go out to those who have registered to say, who went in on the tournament? And it's probably going to be a pretty short tournament. But we've planned for 3 rounds and a backup, and then a awards period. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a very straightforward style paired tournament, and get out there and have a couple games and try some new ways of looking at Blood Red Skies competitive gaming. Will everybody like it? Maybe not. Maybe we'll make some changes, or maybe it will actually kind of validate some things we've thought about trying to change. But either way, there'll be a tournament event. There's also a couple Malta events on there. Those don't require sign up. They basically are existing on the good graces of Chris and Brett and their miniatures and their maps that will all show up. And if people want to come up and play either a real quick Malta game, like a quick 6v6, or if a couple people show up and say, hey, let's play 3 hours of Malta, everything we can put on the table, then we'll do that. It's really meant to be kind of open-ended. There's a couple other discussions and groups and things going on in there, but there's really a fairly free schedule with some kind of big ticket items written in.
If you've never won a medal or you've never won anything at a freaking, convention, come to Gathering of Eagles. that the odds may be slightly more in your favor.
You'll have two baby seals, aka Brett and Chris, that you can club.
Exactly.
Or
And
as my buddy-
I won't be playing Let the Wookiee Win. I'll be playing I don't know the damn rules. Club me.
Yeah. See, the problem was Scott was kind of a victim of that. The first game we played, I was nice, let the Wookiee win. Second game, I was out for blood. And he's like, well, that was fast. I'm like, sorry. But we'll also have Scott there to play. So Steve should be there. A number of the people that are in the ready room will make an appearance. And we'll at least have fun trying some tournament things. Whether or not there's any real standings that come out of it, we'll see.
Witness the power of my P-39 swarm.
Would you stop talking that up? You don't have a P-39 swarm. You don't own any P-39s. Well, wait, maybe you do. Maybe you ordered those from AIM.
That's true. I don't have any.
Damn it. And here's a side note. So Steve and a couple of the other guys asked about this. Only official Warlord cards, either out of an aircraft box or an expansion set, for the lists. We will go out and poll people for their lists here shortly, probably the week of. And the intent is use Warlord standard and approved cards. Use Warlord named aces if you want to. So no lead pursuit aces, no lead pursuit playtest cards. So no, Chris, you can't play your C202s again and beat me, cheater.
Oh, hey, you got that from freaking... No, come on, man. That was approved. That was approved.
You can beat me all you want in the Malta scenario, but not in the tournament. So we'll see how it goes. There will be prizes if John Russell remembers to pack them. So we will definitely have first, second, third place and a sportsmanship, which may also be the number of people we have in the tournament. But that's all right. We'll figure it all out. We should have some fun with that.
So the Club Baby Seal gets a sportsmanship award.
Well, then maybe I need two of them, one for each of you.
Maybe we need a Baby Seal award.
Well, I was gonna,
that picture, that meme, the Norwegian guy
we either need a Baby Seal award or the Blue Falcon award. I haven't decided which, so one or the other.
I guess I need to start figuring out my list. I only have a pretty small number of lists to choose from because it's
your list is 109s, 110s, or 109s. Yeah,
exactly.
See how that works out for you. Well, you could do a 262 list. You can see how well that works out.
I don't have any 262s.
Oh, well, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, so I guess you're going to run a 109 list. That's fine. Give Trevor a heads up, and he'll come up with a good mix for you. Yeah, I think if I get a chance to play, it will be interesting to see. I haven't quite decided on which of my ugly aircraft I want to play, but it will not be a swarm list.
Play the ones Trevor painted for you.
I'm not laughing. That's not funny. You can kiss my ass.
You know it's
actually,
funny.
I might actually play a Hurricane list.
They're really good looking airplanes, man.
Yeah,
I would play them.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just trying to decide between a couple different lists. And no, this is not a super judgmental zone. If you show up with even primered aircraft, actually, if you show up and have just bought your box of aircraft from John Russell, we still won't care. If you need to borrow Chris's aircraft or Brett's 109s, because he will have plenty of them. Should you want to run a 109 list, call Brett.
We will bring lots of airplanes.
Yeah, we'll have airplanes. So don't worry about it. Don't fret. If it's the morning of the tournament and you haven't thought about it, just show up and we'll build you a list and we'll all have fun.
I was thinking about something crazy like Ju-88s, but I guess they don't have Agile, so I can't fly those, can I?
And they don't have point values, so it'd be a little tough. So no bombers. And there will be no airstrike scenarios. The tournament packet I did some work on last weekend and this week a little bit. It will hit the website here shortly. I just needed a couple experienced people to take a look at it, take a hack on it, and say, no, that was the dumbest idea ever, or ooh, I wish we'd thought of that.
It's all going to be World War II Top Gun school with Danger Zone playing in the background.
I want to see how much I can catch Doug talking with his hands, with the, airplane.
I do not talk with my hands.
Shooting his watch. Yeah.
And there I was, running the iPod in the back of the F-18.
Says the man stacking boxes in the middle of the dirt.
Hey, you got the iPod from me.
Yeah, exactly.
And the White Dwarf you were reading while you were in the back of the F-18.
Exactly. Oh, freaking slackers. Bunch of slackers.
All right, so what tables are we running? I know we talked about the Malta table. We doing any particular tables?
So Malta is obviously the big one, and thankfully we have two Malta maps. So the times we have set up for that, there's a lot of options there. We have a dedicated space in there for running the MiG Alley mats, and I know we're going to bring some B-29s, so we're going to have some fun with the B-29s and MiGs and F-86s, and thankfully no F-84s or P-80s or any of those horrible things. Brett, I know that breaks your heart. Sorry.
Ooh, I just finished another B-29, so we have 3 painted.
Yes, that will be good. So we'll do some of that. We will obviously have the rest of our mats there, but when it comes to themed tables, the last big themed piece is John Russell's Carrier, and he will have the Hornet there. And if we want to play, sinking the Hornet, trying to do that, then that's great. If we want to try to play sinking the Hiryu, we can imagine that it's a Japanese carrier, and we can attack it with all of the aircraft that he's bringing. So he's bringing some Dauntlesses, he's bringing Devastators, a couple other different aircraft, basically aircraft by the box. So we'll have some options to do Pacific stuff. I'll have my Midway Island in case we want to do that. But that kind of is our Pacific battlefield. And we can play through that. We'll have the Warlord card examples that we can look at and say, oh, here's the stats for those aircraft, and be able to play through it. What I don't have is I don't have any Hellcat miniatures, but I'm sure we can proxy those if we want to do some later kind of air-to-air.
I got one squadron of Hellcats that are painted, and I'll bring them.
Well,
I don't know if I got the canopies done, but if they aren't done, I will try to get them done this week or next week and bring them with me.
See, there you go. So at least we'll have some Hellcats. So if you really want to club baby seals, a.k.a. Zeros, then we can play Hellcats versus M5 Zeros.
Steve and I plan to have a draft copy of the campaign book floating around. So if anybody's interested in that, if you're there, hit us up and we'll share it with you. Let's just check that out.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool to see. And for those of you that aren't going to show up, I'm sure we're going to preview some of that virtually during the actual conduct of the Gathering of Eagles. So don't think that you're not going to see it. You will see it, but you just won't get to see it in person. And talk with Steve and Brett about some of the things they put in there and how to best run through and run these campaigns.
He and I may use some of that open table time to, kind of play test elements of it, maybe play a few games for our own campaign using our actual book for the first time. We'll see.
So come by and play Dungeons and Dragons for Little Airplanes with Steve and Brett.
On page 236, you can see how much a monocle costs.
I've got my player's handbook right here. This way I can play my airplanes.
Dude, no, I honestly, dude, when we were playing that down there at Brett's house, I was just like, there has been so much work that has gone into this. It's like, do you have a flight surgeon? Do you have a chaplain? It's like, I was like, holy dog shit. This is like a whole other level of freaking World War II awesome that you can freaking, it's like, it's cool. If you are into that kind of stuff, it is there. It is all there for you to freaking play.
If you're into that kind of stuff, and I'm not saying that kind of stuff's uncool because we're all good with it, but if you're into that kind of stuff, then Steve and Brett, yeah, they're your guys. No, it's, I think it's cool. I think it's going to be neat. It is super detailed. So if you thought Brett was going to make the entire BRS campaign system simpler, he fooled you.
No, I thought it was just cool. I think that my favorite part was like everything was over and it's like, okay, so you had this guy was shot down on this part of the board and it's like, now we got to roll to see if he freaking survived freaking getting out of the airplane. We got to see if the freaking airplane's salvageable because it was in freaking friendly territory and how all that freaking stacks up. It was, yeah, it is something that if you really wanted to dig into World War II, you could dig into World War II and you could have a lot of fun with it for a long time.
Yeah, none of it's going to matter unless you intend to play a few games with a friend and you want the games to spill over to the next. If that's what you're shooting for, that's how we came to it. So,
well, good. Now we're going to pause. We're going to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, we're going to go through a little bit more of the details of what's going on at Gathering of Eagles. And we're back. So if you think the only gaming that's going on at Gathering of Eagles is Blood Red Skies, you're going to be wrong. Now, I will admit, I don't need any more miniatures addictions. Chris, I think you're already maxed out at miniatures addictions, right?
Dude, I've been maxed out for 10 years.
I think we need to corrupt Brett. I think Brett only has one addiction, and that's Blood Red Skies right now. So we need to get him A, back into Heresy, and B, into a new game system. What's that second game system we're going to have, Chris?
We are going to have BattleTech.
So if you're an old dude like me.
Not just BattleTech. Ryan Kimmel, the godchild of Southern Indiana, Radio Free ISFN freaking alumni, the guy that builds some of the baddest terrain around, is going to be at our event, and he is bringing our backup table terrain from the battle barn up to the hotel, and we are going to load up. He said we could have anything we want that fits in his freaking truck. So if we want 2 tables of freaking Heresy, we want 2 tables, but whatever we want, we're going to get, and it's going to be some badass shit. Ryan's got 3 printers that run nonstop. It's just amazing stuff. So you are going to see terrain every bit the quality on the BattleTech board, on the Heresy board, and on the Malta terrain board. Oh yeah, you've never seen the Malta map except online. You can see it in person if you come together in Eagles, but you're going to see some amazing shit if you come. And there's going to be the potential to play other systems. I'm going to bring some Zone Mortalis terrain, so we'll have a Zone Mortalis board that's going if anybody wants to play some Heresy Zone Mortalis, because it's really easy to do for pickup kind of guys. We're going to have full BattleTech setup. Like I said, we're going to have some cool Heresy terrain. So it will be a good time. We're going to enlist some of the local Indianapolis area gamers, which that is a huge gaming scene. They've got Gen Con that goes down there every year. So there's a lot of gamers in the area that we're going to try to enlist to come in for this. So definitely don't come if you think, I like Blood Red Skies, but if I'm going to go for 3 days, I'd kind of like to get some bang for the buck and do some other stuff. There's going to be other stuff there too. And you can do what you want. If you want to come and play a couple games of Blood Red Skies and then you want to throw your Heresy army out and freaking play some Heresy with some guys because you haven't had a chance to get out of the basement and do that, you can do that at Gathering of Eagles. So this is not a warlord looking over our monocles at you going, why did you bring Heresy? Why did you bring BattleTech?
Who are you heretics playing Heresy?
Oh my God, no, it's not a warlord approved miniature. No, you're not at a GW shop where they run you out when you bring fucking Forge World models. No, you're
exactly. Ooh, somebody's a little bit bitter. Bitter party of one.
Exactly. You're at an event with a bunch of cool dudes who just want to fucking game and be freaking social, drink beers, freaking have a battle that ends.
Let's talk about a little bit of that. So here's the other thing. We're going to have a couple vendors there. Number one, Unipolar Games. So you've heard me talk about him. AJ over at Unipolar, great dude, a lot of fun to work with. Same guys that are doing our t-shirts. So if you'd like to have a GOE t-shirt, go ahead and go out to the website and buy one. Realize that helps fund getting him up there to the Gathering of Eagles, and it also helps us fund further events on there with the GOE label. We'll have year iron-ons on there, so it'll show you GOE 2020 for those of you that made it there. And no, we don't care if you buy a shirt and don't attend. That's fine. We won't pull off the the iron-on. But please support the guys at Unipolar. John Russell and his whole crew of, or I should say his batch of stuff that he will sell is going to be there. And it's not just Warlord. So understand, he is part of the Warlord demo team. However, he also has a gaming store. So the fact of the matter is there's some really cool stuff that he has from Bombshell Minis, from some of these other different organizations, different gaming systems that we'll probably end up playing, taking a look at sometime while we're there. It really is only about 2 days total because it's a half day on Friday, half day on Sunday, all day on Saturday. But the intent is for us to maximize our gaming time, minimize our sleeping time, and have a good time hanging out, playing some Gathering of Eagles, playing some other systems, and generally just building some gaming community there in Indianapolis, and with those of us that are flying, driving, taking a boat to get in there, however you choose to get to Indianapolis, up to you. So, want to know how to register? Well, right now, if you go out to the Lead Pursuit website, you see the little tab up there for Gathering of Eagles, and you click on that, or you go to leadpursuit.net/GOE and click on the dates for 4 through 6 September. You'll come up to a page that'll give you a summary, and it will say pre-register. So go in there, click on however many pre-registration tickets you need. If you're bringing your whole family of Amish gamers, then that would be 8 people. However many gamers you're bringing, click that on there. Fill out the registration. It'll ask a couple questions. One of the frustrating things is after you hit that registration, you'll have to hit submit, and then you'll have to click on the little checkout icon. There's a little purse because, we're trying to keep it kind of set for Chris and his way of shopping. So there's a little shopping bag instead of a shopping cart. So we know if you're an ecological person that goes to the grocery store with your shopping bag.
Now we're going to the purses. We've been down the magic trail. Now are we going to go with a freaking lifestyle thing now?
I'm going to blame him for the not shopping cart icon there. But go click on that. You'll see your little tickets listed in there. Pay for the tickets. They're $40 a piece right now. They'll be $50 at the door. So buy your tickets now. And we will get you in there to game. If you have any problems with the registration or any questions about why it's not working, there's a contact form on the website. Click on that. You can always shoot me an email, doug@leadpursuit.net, and I will get an answer back to you as quickly as possible and help you do all of the registration. But all that information should be on the website. The schedule's out there, a couple pictures to show you what the gaming is going to be like, and then generally what we'll do is we'll take the schedule. We're going to totally rip it up and start all over, at least starting tomorrow, because we've been fortunate. The hotel has given us a chance to break out the vendor area. So we'll have a separate vendor area in the same large gaming room that we have. We'll just partition it off in the evenings. But that'll give us a little bit of a chance to
we're gonna
have some
partition
classes.
it? Man, we're turning into a
we're getting all
Decepticon,
fancy.
dude.
Exactly. We're getting all fancy.
Is it going to roll the walls out and freaking seal it all
So
off?
once again, and I can't say enough nice things about the Hilton Garden Inn there at Indianapolis Airport. The fact that when I looked at them and said, "Hey, you only had me on contract for 2 of the rooms," like, "Nah, take the third one anyway." I'm like, awesome. I'll be happy to do that because now I've got a vendor area that's got an air wall that we can pull out and close and cordon off the vendors. So
we could put John and his kilt behind it.
Yes, we can leave him back there. After 9 p.m., no more John Russell. He stays in the vendor area. We'll leave him a cot and an inflatable mattress. He should be used to that. That's luxury for the Air Force, right? So we will... We'll have a vendor area. We'll have some classroom stuff. We'll have Andy Chambers has been kind enough to acquiesce once again to giving some opening remarks. So we will have him there virtually, not really, but virtually, and we'll go through and try to also sync up as much as we can for people who aren't there. Whether we're going to be able to stream some of the tabletop sim games so that people that are at the con can watch the people who are remote playing, and also Twitch stream some of the actual physical games that we're playing, so people who are remote can also watch those and watch my Swarm P39s get beat by Brett's ME109s. Oh wait, I don't have P39s. So, but anyway, 4th, 5th, and 6th September, Indianapolis at the Hilton Garden Inn, Indianapolis Airport. leadpursuit.net/GOE. You should have no questions after this episode, but if you do, reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, send us an email, Doug@leadpursuit. There should be no reason why you have any questions after that. Any last-minute parting shots, gentlemen?
Show up. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's going to be a bunch of dudes having a lot of freaking fun, drinking a lot of beer in a freaking hotel, playing freaking little miniature games. If you're not into that, you shouldn't be listening to this anyway.
I was about to ask, if you're not into that, why are you listening to this podcast? You're a weirdo. No. Show up, have some fun, and if you want to play board games, if you even want to, get Chris to give you a little bit of tutelage about Magic the Gathering, that's fine. I'm sure he can do that.
I'm not bringing Magic cards. I don't own Magic cards. My son owns Magic cards. I don't own Magic cards.
Hey, if you want Chris's son to teach you
Pokemon than Magic, to be honest. Yeah, I should bring Michael to teach
Bring
me
Michael
to
just
Magic.
to be the Magic. He will be the Magic tutor for the whole evening.
He'd kick everybody's ass.
Yeah,
you don't want to play board games. My brother challenged my son to Monopoly when we visited a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "He had all my money in an hour."
Excellent, useful life skills.
Exactly.
All right, Brett. Anything last minute from you, my friend?
No, I'm just going to wrap up a few little odds and ends. I'm taking some vacation the week before, so this is my last week to get some last-minute things done. I just finished a B-29. I'm working on some more airstrike targets. Some are just for the Multimat, so those will be on display, and we'll hopefully get to do some reps with those. That'll be fun.
Yeah, if you show up, you're going to get to see that Brett not only has like every 109 and 110 from the entire Luftwaffe represented, but he now has an entire Panzer Army and is working on his second Panzer Army from GHQ. So the guys in Minnesota right now are supplying one person in freaking Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, so definitely come. Dude, that stuff looks amazing.
We're going to have some good targets. We'll have some fun. We will run out of time and not be able to play as much as we want. but that's fine. The purpose of all this, once again, to build some community, to get some people to meet face to face, and be able to talk about Blood Red Skies, play Blood Red Skies, drink beer, and tell lies.